Excellent. Great to have everybody. It's 11:01, so I'll do a little small talk for a minute or two and give people a chance to jump on. So here we are, Friday the 13th. I was just trying to tell a joke that I'd rather have bad luck than no luck at all. I don't even know if that's true, but it sounds like a pithy thing to say, so I'll subscribe to that notion right now. Today we're going to talk about Wealth Engine, which I'm really excited about because it's a tool I think a lot of folks have heard about, and yet it's like been way over there, and I've never done much with it. I've never done a training on it because I wasn't sure what our account status was, but I've been in touch with Anna Sheehan, who is on our call and is going to be able to be the master in the house for a few minutes today. I'm really thrilled about that. Anna, nice to have you. If you're on, I see you're here, but I don't know if you're at the computer yet. But anyway, we're going to jump into Wealth Engine in about 3 or 4 minutes. I've been doing this at the end, but I want to do it at the beginning because I just am excited about the production in all of our offices. I think Teresa sent out an email. I hope all of you got it, but I want to make sure that Telluride, and both of the agents are on the call, which is great, had their first CBDP sales. So Karen McCarthy worked with Joni Klein from Montrose to close on an $825,000 property, which is fantastic. And Jim Jennings, JJ, double-ended. Was it a home or vacant land, Jim? What was that?
A condo hotel, Derek.
Awesome, a condo in Telluride, yes?
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
And so those are our first 2 sales since Telluride has joined us, so we're looking for just lots and lots of good stuff from them. But congratulations to Karen and JJ and to Joni Klein. So what I'm going to do at the beginning right now is run through our biggest sales of the last week, because I think it's important to shout out to all of our agents and all of our offices who do. Right now my threshold is $500,000 and up. Maybe that'll change. It won't go down. But Karen McLean Wilson had a $515,000, these are list prices, sale. And in Grand Junction, Jen Peterson, a $995,000. So good job, Jen. Usually she's on these calls, but okay. And Michael Thompson in Vail. Michael Thompson Vail, $700,000 closing. Nice job, Olin Clark, $595,000. Joni Klein, I said Montrose, $825,000. Annette, you're on the call. You had a $560,000 closing. And then the 2 biggest, well, 2 of the 3 biggest, happened in Bozeman, which I'm just thrilled about. Angie Keel closed on an $846,000 listing. And then I can't even believe this, not because he's not capable, but oh my goodness, Adam Greenberg, who's been in the business for 2 or 3 years, one of the nicest guys, at least for Bozeman, that I've ever met. He's a drummer, so a musician. Come on. He closed on a deal that was listed at $3.95 million. And he closed it for right in that ballpark. And I just couldn't be happier for Mr. Greenberg and the entire Bozeman office. They just celebrated their first anniversary with the company as of, I think, July 7th or something like that. And so having a $4 million sale from that office with Adam is absolutely awesome. Great job. Company-wide, I see that we had 46 sales last week. This is just from the last week, folks, worth upwards of $20 million of production. Excellent. If you do the math, $20 million a week over a full year puts us at right about $1 billion. I think that's the math, $1 billion in production as a company, and that's what we are hoping to do, because that would just be awesome to say we're a $1 billion company. I know I run a balance of not being too numbery, and it shouldn't all be about numbers, but my goodness gracious, when you do stuff like this, that's what we're all here for, is to get smarter and to do better business, do more deals, make more clients happier on a daily basis. So that's off to everybody. Lots and lots of deals, of course, but those are the ones that jumped out at me from the last week. Okay, I will close my little chat thing here. So, Anna, are you available yet? Do I need to? I've got some really funny jokes. If you're not, that's not true. I don't have any funny jokes. But I do have some stuff prepared. So let me just check an email really quick. Everybody.
Hi, I'm here. This is Anna. Can you hear me?
Hey, Anna. Excellent. Nice to have you. So, Anna, I'll do a very short introduction because I don't know a ton about you other than I've had a couple webinars under your tutelage. Great. She is a customer success manager I love that title, Customer Success Manager with Wealth Engine. And before she takes over the screen and shows us a little bit, here's the basics, I think, for the lay people like us. Wealth Engine is a platform that Coldwell Banker and Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties belongs to, so we get a steeply discounted rate to access the information in Wealth Engine. Now, true to its name, it is a platform that allows agents, and it's not just global luxury agents or whatever, it's all of our agents can go into Wealth Engine and for a nominal fee, a subscription fee, if you will, of $250, have access to an unbelievable, Anna will get to that in a minute, unbelievable range of wealth information on people all over the country. It is phenomenal. I've gone through the webinar Teresa and I sat in on Tuesday, and it's incredible what this program can do. Anna's going to show you some of the details, and I've got a one sheet that's 2 pages long because they should be called 2 sheets, I suppose, when I type them. But here's what I really need to make sure you are all aware of before we get into this, is that you don't use this a lot. A, it might be cost prohibitive for the business you do, but B, if you're reaching out to wealthy individuals out there, you're not hitting them with your $240,000 listing, in residential branches. You're not hitting them over the head a whole lot. I can guarantee you there's no faster way to lose the potential audience of people of means by hammering them with your newsletter and with, I just listed, price $5,000 price for that. No, that's not what this is about. You would only be using this if you've got a property or you work in the space with luxury real estate of high-end stuff that you really think needs to be in front of people from a feeder market, say, Denver, Salt Lake, Seattle, LA, what have you. This is not, I really don't want anyone to buy a list of 150 people and then just pretend that they're normal contacts. That's not what this is, okay? I hope everybody understands that. I'm not trying to be like hoity-toity about it, but anytime you do anything, and always keep this in mind, you're doing it as your own agent, yes, but you're also doing it from our company. And we want to make sure that our company is always putting the best foot forward on an agent-by-agent basis, whether you're working with a lower-end property or you're trying to attract affluent buyers, okay? So that's my caveat. If you have questions about what I'm talking about or why I'm even saying this, you can give me a call or you can have a discussion with your MD. But I really want us to be sensitive in how we use this, okay? And I hope that makes a fair amount of sense. Anna, you can contradict everything I've just said because this is going to be your show in just a moment. Do you see, Anna, if you hover over your screen on the bottom, a bar lights up and there's a share screen option. If you want to click that, then we will enter into your computer. And I'll give you the thumbs up if and when that happens. It says Anna Sheehan has started sharing her screen. There we go. You got a thumbs up for me. Anyone else give me a thumbs up that you can see Anna's Wealth Engine homepage? Okay, Anna, great stuff. Folks, if you have any questions about anything, of course, unmute. Don't use the chat because it doesn't really work when we're sharing screens. But let's just let Anna run through what she has to run through. This is about a 45-minute presentation that she's going to condense a little bit for us. This is only the rudimentary stuff. Okay, you shouldn't expect to walk out of this meeting knowing everything there is to know about Wealth Engine. It's an introduction, and then if you want to know more, we've got all sorts of documents that will help you. Okay, and I couldn't be happier to have you join us, especially on such short notice. You've been nothing but awesome. And maybe your initials should be AS for awesome sauce. I don't know, but Anna, I'll stop talking, and you go ahead and tell us what we need to know.
Great. Thank you. And thanks so much, Derek, for allowing me to kind of give a quick presentation to the group. Happy to share some info here with you about Wealth Engine. Wealth Engine, if you're not familiar, we've been around a little over 20 years. And essentially what we've done in those years is we build profiles on people. We have a database of profiles on about 90% of U.S. households. So roughly over 240 million individual person profiles. So buy data from a lot of different vendors, collect data from all these publicly available data sources, use that, and then of course our statisticians, build algorithms to rate and score people. So you can quickly, type in somebody's name and see this is their estimated net worth, estimated income, et cetera. So we have kind of built this, really great database of all that information. We've been working with Coldwell Banker, I think, for a little over 3 years now. And, the national office has basically kind of set up, a contract with us whereby, agents in different offices can access the tool. Again, as Derek mentioned, for a very nominal, a very small fee compared to what we, normally charge, just any other client. So for $250, you can get access to this platform, the Wealth Engine platform, and a couple other quick things here I'm going to show you. But essentially, as I said, it's a sort of individual platform, and I'm going to log in here right now and just kind of do a quick overview of what the tool does, what you would have access to if you choose to get a subscription with us. Log in here real quick. So this is what's called our Wealth Engine platform, very user-friendly. And there are 2 features I'm just going to briefly walk you through. As I said, the 2 key pieces of access that you would have if you chose to get a subscription with Wealth Engine. And that is, of course, just the basic search functionality. So our search tool allows you to do a quick person search and search that database of those 90% of U.S. households for an individual. And everybody, the first thing everyone does is they look themselves up, which is fine because you want to see what we've compiled on you and how we've assessed you. But it's good, important to just note, it is based on publicly available data. So a lot of times our sort of ratings and scores and estimates of individuals are a little conservative, right? Just kind of based on what we can see and what we can prove about that individual. But very user-friendly, as I said, you can basically your account would allow you to have unlimited search capabilities. So you can run as many person searches as you want, as many times as you want. And quite simply, I'll kind of use my go-to guy here. If you just type in someone's name, and you don't even really have to know a whole lot about them, even if, it's just somebody who showed up at an open house and, just signed on the sheet, you don't have their full address, you don't have all the details about them, but you've at least got their name and maybe some idea where they live. My example would be here, Mr. Robert Kogod. All I know is that he's somehow connected to the Washington, D.C. area. Okay. And we have kind of all the major metros plugged in. So again, if you don't know the exact city where someone resides, you can kind of do a general search like this.
And Grand Junction, just so you're not a major metropolitan area. So just settle down, Grand Junction. You're not there yet. Jeez.
I'm sorry, what's that? Oh, that's okay. So when you do a person search, again, it's going to basically go through our entire database and kind of send you back any possible match. So for example, I typed in Robert Kogod in Washington, D.C. There's 17 different profiles that have come back. Those get sort ordered and filtered out by relevancy. So usually the first result is the right one. Again, it's going to kind of send you every possible match back. But what this would, of course, allow me to do is now kind of go look at a profile of this individual. Okay. And our person profiles, again, some are more comprehensive than others, some are better than others, just depending on what's available about that individual. But they're really kind of very comprehensive and allow you to quickly see just on the front page of that person profile a sort of a wealth assessment. So, does this person have sort of the right amount of wealth and assets to really, be able to purchase that property? Do I want to learn a little bit more about this person because I maybe want to individually contact them and follow up with them? All those details are here. So the front page kind of just gives you that quick summary data of all the ratings and scores, but the profiles actually have, much more detailed information in what's called the research details section. And that really lets you see all the information behind those numbers. So how did we come up with that net worth or investable assets figure? All that data is in here. Their real estate properties, publicly visible stock information, board memberships that they serve on, charitable donations they've made, et cetera. So basically you can, really kind of dive a little deeper if you want to on an individual, learn a little bit more about them. And again, hopefully that can help you maybe prepare for a more, strategic approach to that individual if you're really targeting them to sort of, be a potential buyer. So that's just kind of the basics of the person searches. You can kind of do these one-off lookups. As I said, it's an unlimited search capability. You can do a search by business. So you can say, let's go look up a local company because I want to go see all the executives that work at that company. You can do that, and that way you can peruse profiles of, execs at a local business, things like that. The other feature that is also really key and what a lot of other Coldwell Banker affiliates use quite a bit is what's called our prospecting tool. And this is, if with the $250 buy-in, you get what we get 150 credits for We Prospect. So it's kind of like you're buying a list of names from us. So you automatically get 150 that you can download and buy the names of those individuals. You can add credits. Let's say you want to maybe download a list of 1,000 names of people. But what this allows you to do is kind of build a query of our database of those millions of profiles and say, here's the kind of people that might be the best fit for this property. Here are some of the characteristics I think they should have. So what this would allow me to do is, again, pick a region. And I'll do a metropolitan area search. Yeah, I'll just do my DC example again, Washington, DC. And you can see over here on the right-hand side, it's already telling me how many profiles it's found in the Wealth Engine database. So, 4.5 million individual profiles of folks who have a primary residence in the DC area. Now, again, I want to break that down because, the people who might want to purchase my particular listing are, should be maybe, 55 or older. All right, so you could kind of do an age range. These folks should, 55, there we go. These folks, should likely have a net worth of $1 million or more. Again, our scores are conservative, so I'm going to be a little conservative with that. But now I can really kind of start building a list of people who might be their best targets. That's kind of the quick basics of that. There are many, many other attributes I can use to build my list, including many other wealth and rating scores. People should have, roughly this type of investable assets. These folks should at least already have real estate that's valued at XYZ or higher. So maybe I can say something like their total real estate value currently is already at least $1 million or more, or maybe I'll go up a little higher and say 5 million or more, add that to my query. And you can see every time you add another attribute, the list and the numbers goes down. So the other kind of, just thing I'll quickly point out, sometimes a lot of other, Coldwell Banker affiliates use some of our interests. So for example, maybe they're selling a property that's in a golf community. So I really just only want people who have a designated interest in golf. So I can go in here and say, let's go to that detailed interest attribute, find that attribute. All right. There's many, many detailed interests here, as you can see. So we've, been able to kind of collect all that. Again, it's public, public data, magazine subscriptions. Anytime you use one of those savings cards at your drugstore or your Petco or something like that, all that data kind of gets compiled to sort of put you into a category of, I'm somebody who likes cats versus dogs, et cetera, things like that. But as you can see, oh, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm glad you're right here. Just stay set here for a second, Anna. So a lot of our offices are in the mountains. We've got Telluride, Steamboat Vale, Montrose, and Sun Valley. And so the skiing is huge, the fishing, the equestrian. So agents, are you looking at this? And it's almost like doing a Facebook boost where you can say, okay, what are the things these people like to do? You can really dial this in, and I hope you can see some of the potential of finding those buyers for your higher end listing, maybe a third or fourth home for a Telluride buyer. So this is just incredible that this exists and that we could be able to access this. So I'm glad you got here. This is perfect.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, great point. Yeah, I worked with another agent not too long ago. There was a property that, they really just wanted people who were boat owners for that particular property. So they were able to, pare down a list of people who had, who owned a boat. And that's just not, not just any boat. It has to be a substantially sized vessel to fit into that category. But yeah, you can really, again, just really kind of target and hopefully find, the best, potential group of buyers for that listing based on, again, where it's at, some of the features of the property, et cetera. So what you can do once you kind of, plug in here, put all the different attributes you think are going to be, give you the best potential list. You of course then get a count. And as I said, if you do the 250 buy-in, you automatically get 150 credits. but you can add more credits, because maybe you want to buy a list with more names. So it's a price per record. If you want to add more credits to your account, easy, and we can do that. But of course, what it would let me do is just do a quick preview. That won't let me preview the names of these people, unfortunately, but it will let you kind of see a little overview of what that list is kind of going to look like and break out in terms of our ratings and scores. So we can see here out of those, 1,200 people, easily there's 197 who have a net worth of 5 to 10 million. And of course, real estate, the majority of them have the real estate in the range of 5 to 10 million, et cetera. So that way you can kind of say, all right, maybe I want to go back, change my criteria. So you can go back, refine your query, make adjustments before you actually download that list of, your prospects. So it gives you a lot of opportunities to kind of click back and forth and kind of, get the right target number there. And of course, once you download that list of names, it gets loaded here into your account, your individual account, into a section called My Results. So I have a couple of prospect lists I've already downloaded here, but that's sort of your personal list. It gets downloaded. You get the full list of those names, their addresses, their email, their phone numbers, and of course their full profile as well. So, for example, I did a, download of Seattle high net worth individuals here back in February 1st on 2017. And now I've got, everybody's profile that met my criteria when I built that list, et cetera. Okay. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, so I just kind of want to leave it there. Certainly, Derek, let me know if there's something else you'd like me to mention at this point.
Could I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Who's talking?
This is Eric.
Okay. Hi, Eric.
So are there any photos? Is there a photo section?
Unfortunately, there is not. No, we have not built photos into our profiles at this point. That's been a customer request for at least the last couple of years. I know they're working on that.
What I found is if I have a new client or I have a new name, say, and I do a search, I go to images on Google and I'll recognize who it is, and that gets me a long way to figuring out which Abbott of the 150 that I received I'm actually looking at. So that, and I understand why you've had those questions. How much is it per name after the first 100?
So it kind of goes on a sliding scale just based on how many credits you want. On average, it's 16 cents per name.
Okay.
So, so if you want to do, 1,000, it would probably be about 16 cents per name. Some clients have bought, up to 10, 15, 20,000 names.
Sure.
So the price kind of goes down a little bit the more you buy.
Sure. And have you guys done any studies on what, in our case, I'm in Telluride, Colorado. In our case, I've always wondered, what is the net worth of someone who buys a $1 million home, a $5 million home, a $10 million home? Where are they in that range when they decide to make an investment here at that level? A few years ago, for example, a new broker that we had was doing an open house in the Mountain Village, and a couple walked in and they ended up buying a $10.5 million home after spending about an hour there. Curious, what is someone's net worth that makes a decision to buy a second home at 10 million? Have you guys done any work on that?
Interesting question. I don't know that I could say for sure, no. But it's kind of brought up something that Derek and I talked about the other day, in that, you can sort of come in here and, you know the names of those people that have done that, fit that category that you just described. So you can always kind of look at all of their profiles and kind of look for those similarities.
Yeah.
To say, wow, here are the 5 people I know that, did, fit that category of, what you just described, and look at those profiles and say, wow, here are some of the things they all have in common. So that's, you could kind of sort of build that model on your own by looking at some of that. But yeah, that's a great question.
I think it's
not necessarily.
I think at 16 cents a name, you know, this is a fabulous resource for all of us to use.
Yeah.
How do we do it? Do we just sign up online with wealthengine.com? Do we call you? How do we do it?
I've got all that information, and so we're going to just lean on Anna for the expertise about the site, and then I'll tell you, I've got all the stuff about how to actually go ahead and do this. Anna, there are a couple things that I noticed as you're going through. I want to make sure agents are clear about that. Like there was some political party or, you know, donations, stuff like that in some of those, not the attribute list, but like the details about who it is. Wealth Engine is used by a lot of nonprofits. And so nonprofits, you know, it's helpful to know which way they lean and this and that. So this isn't just a real estate tool. It's useful for a lot of, you know, schools and other nonprofits. So that's why some of that stuff is in there. I would really caution. Can you get the sense that I want you guys to use caution in using this? But I would really caution it in terms of like worrying too much about that. I'd go lifestyle things. What do they like to do? What's their net worth? And your feeder markets. So I think those are the best filters. And if you start getting way into the weeds, I think you're going to find, well, it's going to be frustrating. But Eric's question is such a good one. If you subscribe to this, you can do some like backwards research, if you will, and create that avatar for who buys in Telluride. Who buys the $2 million homes in Telluride? So you would find the owners of 15 Telluride homes, and you can do that in your assessors. Put them in, generate the similarities, and come up with a pattern. That way, that can inform the list that you try to generate from a prospect's standpoint. So it's a little bit of work, but boy, if you get one done, you know, you could have some really awesome.
I think it's great. I think that's a great way of going about it.
Yeah. So Anna, I can't even believe how generous you've been with your time. We sort of did this at the last minute, and Anna was just very eager to be a part of this. So thank you much. Are there any other questions for the Wealth Engine expert before I tell you how to go about getting this going for you? You know, she's going on vacation, so we want to just, you know, wrap this up and let her go bon voyage. I don't even know where she's going, but she certainly deserves a vacation after putting up with me. So,
I have a question about: are there like tutorials on the site that can get more in depth with what we can do with it?
Yes. Absolutely. There are several downloads that you can do directly from our website. Webinars, we do free weekly sessions, training sessions. Absolutely. So I can make sure I can get Derek, I can send him a few links if that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Anything else for Anna, folks? No? Anna, you can stop sharing, and just thank you so much. You and I will stay in touch, but I just appreciate your time, your expertise, and your enthusiasm for this product. It's a great product. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of how to get it started. I've got all that stuff from the site captured for the agents, so they can get to work on this. Okay?
Sure, sounds great. I'm going to go ahead and drop off now. Is that okay?
Yep, that's awesome.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Let's see. We'll wait for her screen. Okay. All right. As you can see, that's super, super powerful stuff.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did she say if there were monthly fees or just the initial application fee?
To my understanding, there's two types of fees. There's the subscription fee to be able to even do what she was doing. You can go to wealthengine.com and see that, but then you have to, it's like a cover charge. You can't get into the bar to listen to the music until you pay the man at the door. Once you do that, I think that $250 entry fee goes towards your first list. So not only does it get you in, but it buys you a couple drinks. Does that make sense? I think that's how it works.
I'll do on Friday.
Is that $250 per year, or is it just a one-time fee?
I think it's a one-time fee. What is per year is if you purchase a list, that list lives for a year. I don't know how they take it from you, but it's a 1-year subscription per list that you generate. I've seen that in there. Folks, A, I'm not an agent. B, I'm subscribed. C, the office doesn't have a subscription because, as Craig Hogan told us at our luxury training, that's kind of illegal. And what the office, the company is not going to buy a subscription and then just let agents go at it. It would be super messy. This is not our program. I know maybe this much more than you do at this point about Wealth Engine. If you want to use this, it's going to be an agent-based thing. I think the price is so reasonable. I think that if you were from another company or just wanted to use this, nice dancing there, that's awesome, in Grand Junction, I think it's a $2,500 cover charge.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Something like 60% discount for us?
I think, well, 90% if I'm doing the math right, because it's a $250 charge for us, but it's $2,500 on the open market. So it's a wonderful advantage of being, that's a Coldwell Banker thing, because Coldwell Banker.
No, I heard $4,000 for the level that we're at on the open market.
That's steamboat prices, so that's always elevated.
No, man, I got pretty clear on this. It's 25, I think, and for the 25, I think you just get like the list, but you don't get all the data points. To get all the data points that they've got us having access to, I think it's $4,000 is the entry fee.
Okay.
Wow, that's great.
So it's good stuff for us. I know you're always thinking about money. I would not cross-pollinate with anyone. I would not say to someone else in my office, hey, let's split the cost and do that. Like, just if you want to do this, pay the money and just make sure it's your stuff. Because I just think it's got the potential to, like, I wouldn't want 3 people to have the same account and then mess stuff up. So if you're going to do this, I would say do it individually. You can always lean on me for help. Anna is the customer success manager. She's like the IT person, I think. She has been so available and so responsive to me just in the last 3 days. So I have a lot of confidence in that. They really want to see this be used. Well, they make money every time an agent calls and says, I want a subscription, but I think they've got it all pretty dialed in. So I'm going to share my screen and show you some of the one sheet that I'm going to send along that has all the stuff about how to access this. You can also go to your favorite site in the world, CB Exchange, which is I want to start hearing this in a chorus. It's the shopping mall for all things Coldwell Banker, and a bunch of boutique stores in there. You can go in and you can type in Wealth Engine in the search bar, and basically the thing I'm going to show you right now comes up. So there's information in CB Exchange about Wealth Engine. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see. Okay, this isn't super attractive, I know, but I wanted to keep it flexible until we have this, and I'll probably make some updates. So here's my one sheet that you'll get attached to the recording, which will come, in a couple hours. So this is all the stuff that she went over. I'm not going to do that. But here's how to purchase a subscription. This is all in here. Because Coldwell Banker is a partner, if you will, and I'm probably misusing that term, but you understand what I mean, right? Like, I don't think Coldwell Banker owns Wealth Engine or gets a kickback or whatever. It's just we have a good rate. That's all I'll say. So how to purchase a subscription? There's a Coldwell Banker sales at wealthengine.com. which is awesome, which means it's like in the movie Goodfellas, we get to use the side door and go in because we've got suction with Wealth Engine, okay? Once you do that, then they'll walk you through it. This doesn't come to me, this doesn't come to T, this doesn't come to your MD or your OM. Once you enter this, that's you, it's all you. The only way you'd hear from me is if I understand you're using this to just hit people with, just sold a $200,000 condo. Like, don't do that. That's not what you're buying these mailing lists for. You get that, right? Everybody get that? Good. So here's some of the nuts and bolts about it. The one thing that I found on the CB Exchange site is it said for global luxury specialists only. That is not true. Craig had suggested that in our luxury trainings, but I talked to Anna, and that is not the case. This is available to all Coldwell Banker agents and their affiliates. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to have production standards to access these lists. But I will say over and over and over, you need to use it as if you are a global luxury agent. You need to use it in a sophisticated way that is not going to make our company look silly, and is not going to make you look like, why would you be reaching out to me in my Bahamas home about this? You need to be really thoughtful about this, okay? All right, how to purchase a list. So you've done this. There's a phone number here. 16 cents per name. That does fluctuate. So as she said, then based on your volume, it's like Costco. If you buy more, you're going to get it for less. It's basically like buying a bunch of tokens. You don't buy the list outright. You buy credits. So you could pay $500 right now and be able to generate the list for the next couple of months without worried about paying every time. You're going to ask me, how do you pay? I don't know. That's all on them. Okay, I don't know if you just PayPal or what, but these folks have all the answers. Okay, I'll get to questions in just a minute, but here are the trainings that Valerie asked about. The Wealth Engines training sessions, they last about an hour. The next one is August 14th. It basically takes what Anna did right now and blows it up. Okay, she was really condensed here, but the two things that you're going to use this for: prospect search. You got a lead about some big property. You want to know if they're worth putting time into. Facebook doesn't tell you much. You go here and you're going to be able to find out if this person indeed is capable of buying this $3 million property that they submitted the lead about, etc. Okay, that's the prospect search. The list thing is, I'm in Vail and I know my big market right now is Miami, and I want to hit doctors in Miami with these 3 listings. And I've made a really nice mailing about these 3 listings, and I want 300 doctors in Miami. I buy a list of doctors in Miami. That's the prospect list. No, Julie, don't. No, I'm kidding. You can ask. Were you going to ask a question? No? Okay. All right. So these all happen. Keep in mind, these are Eastern Standard Time, and if you're confused about the time change, call Julie. She'll let you know how to make sure you miss the meetings because you misread the time zone. These are half-hour Q&A sessions. Every couple of weeks, you can just call in, oh, yeah, I was wondering how to do this. And it's like, I mean, that's pretty cool. They've got a Q&A session built in every 2 weeks or so for you to be able to call in and ask questions. Again, pay attention to the times. Here's your code. Here's your number, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the email. It's up there earlier, but here's the email to get this going. You would email coldwellbankersales@wealthengine.com. Here's a 2-minute overview, which is super simplistic and kind of animated. It has some, I think, accordion or kaleidoscope music, whatever. It's 2 minutes. This is a training that they've posted, which is basically going to be like these trainings here. So this is a 44-minute training that if you don't want to wait until the 14th of August to do this, you could watch this training and pretty much get the same thing without being able to be interactive. Okay. And then Anna, her email is simply this. And as I say, she's been nothing but just super awesome and helpful and eager to get more people using their system. So if you had questions that you didn't think were going to be answered here or by any of this, you could email Anna at that email address. Okay, so that's the one sheet that I've prepared. And what I want to ask you all right now is what else should be on here, keeping in mind that there are things on the Wealth Engine site that will help you. Is there anything else you'd want on here before I send this out to everybody about what Wealth Engine is all about? You don't have to answer now. You can email me any thoughts.
I think this is great. I look forward to using it. I'll definitely buy in. If 88,000 Coldwell Banker brokers sign up, Wealth Engine makes $20 million. So I'm very happy that Coldwell Banker stepped to the plate, and I'm sure Wealth Engine ran their numbers and said this is a fabulous opportunity to give just a discount to 80,000 potential new clients.
Yep, absolutely. And Eric, it's a good point. I'm going to segue and offer caution again. If there are thousands of Coldwell Banker agents using this, what do you have to do in order for you to stand out? You have to distinguish yourself. Mm-hmm. Even buying the list isn't enough. You have to then figure out a way to brand yourself as an agent that can get the job done for these high-end clients. So if I was sending something, here's what I would do. And I'm no agent, though I play one on webinars. I would buy my list of 150 from Seattle, because that's our big feeder market. I would put in there a few pages, but one page would have, or maybe it'd be a page each, of 4 listings I think that would appeal to Seattle buyers in the Sun Valley area. I would have a page about me, my bio. I would have a page about my production ability. I've done 72 sales in the last 4 years, average sales price of blah, 38 million in volume, what have you. I would probably put a page in there about Sun Valley, because I can't just assume that everyone I'm hitting in Seattle knows about Sun Valley. They've got tons of resorts in Washington. Well, here's why Sun Valley should be on your radar. Those are the things I would put in there, and I would try to make it as attractive as possible, print it on nice paper, all that sort of thing. Craig Hogan said it, and whether you were at his conference or not, the luxury, high-end buyers like the touch of things, right? They like to have things. They like to be treated as if they're exclusive. So you're not sending them big MLS lists that they could get on their own. You're trying to make yourself look like you have access to exclusive things, Seattle, right? So I'm getting big picture here. I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands that you can. It's like the old horror movies, you know, in the wrong hands, this could be dangerous. These lists can be dangerous in the wrong hands. Don't just buy lists and start being weird, okay? Right? That's a. So you can always call me or talk to your MD or talk to Todd or Keith about all of this before you make any decisions about how to use it. Run it by us, send us drafts. So this is what I was thinking of putting together, the list I bought from New York City. What do you think? Okay, so all of that good stuff. Okay. It's 11:42, and we don't need to go to noon, but what big picture questions do you have about Wealth Engine that would benefit everybody?
I think it's going to be really interesting, and I hope everyone shares their first success story. It just seems like a great program. You know, I feel like I so often try to do research on potential clients or someone that I've met, and it also always seems to be a little frustrating. So having access to a program like this is great. Yeah.
Yazbek in Steamboat about a month ago had a very high-end listing appointment, and I'm devastated to know that Robert didn't quite get it. He was second, but he used this information. He didn't buy a list or anything, but we talked about it a little bit. He looked at the site. He used this in his listing presentation.
Sure.
To bolster his ability to list this property. Robert, you want to just tell us maybe how you did it or anything about that little experience, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, I ordered the demo, which is real similar to what, you know, that gal just did for us, or hers was better. You're more informed than I was at this point, but, you know, it felt really good to be able to comfortably and confidently talk about what Wealth Engine really was. And it was very interesting to the seller. I mean, he listened, and it was something that he thought was great and powerful, and, you know, he really liked it. So I think it's definitely a leg up if you can really articulate the strength of it. And my recommendation would be to go in with a plan if you're competing for a listing, an actual plan of how you're going to use it and who you're going to target and how. And if you can say that and, you know, articulate what it, you know, the features it has and everything, I think it's huge.
Robert did share with me that he had spinach in his teeth that day, which is pretty much the reason he didn't get the listing. Otherwise, he would have totally nailed it. But, so always brush your teeth. That's probably more important than Wealth Engine. Always before you do those listing appointments. Thanks for that, Robert. MDs and OMs. Is this a recruiting tool? Absolutely. Right? Hey, not only do we have this back-end thing called Global Luxury, but you will have access to Wealth Engine lists that will allow you to sell your high-end stuff better. So, you know, you can think about that, MDs, and how to script that, how to package this as a recruiting tool. I think, well, I'll have 2 or 3 things to send along in the email as attachments. I'll put a folder, I know you guys will be like, who cares? I don't even know that. I'll put a folder in IQO called Wealth Engine in the files library. So all of the stuff that I send you will live there as well. But I'll reiterate that the company isn't going to get involved in buying office-wide subscriptions or anything like that. It just seems too messy. And I think at the price that you're able to access this at, I'm not super apologetic about that. If you want to talk though more about what you think you can do with this or how you should use it, I'm all ears and forehead, as you can see. So wide open to that. Just make sure, as Robert said, make sure you have a plan. Yes, ma'am.
Can you give us your instinct on how this can be used in our new seller leads program?
How this can be used in the seller leads program. You can probably, if you keep in mind, you can't, without paying that entry fee, you can't just go in and start messing around with this. So you have to commit to buying the subscription, which lets you in, and you can do prospect searches all day long. I think, Julie, I can't remember, is there an address entry as opposed to a name entry in that prospect search? I think there was.
I think there was. Well, I mean, we can get the person's name out of
the assessors. Yeah.
We'll have the person's name right away.
Yeah. My sense with the seller leads, and not everybody's doing that, I understand that, but is, it's a huge range of properties. So a couple of the ones in Sun Valley have shown up as like a $2 million home. I would definitely, if I have the subscription, I would definitely find that owner and see if that indeed is what the home might be worth and what their net worth is and all of that. I'll have to think more about that, Julie. I'm kind of barfing up information and it's not very interesting. So let me think more about that. But I did want to say, Eric, I'll reiterate what he asked. Hey, make an avatar of who buys $3 million homes in Telluride. It's super simple. I mean, it's laborious, but you don't have to have 88 different algorithms. You can go in and find the names of all the owners of $3 million homes in a zip code. Right? And then type them into the prospect search, figure out what it is they do that makes them like Telluride $3 million homes, and then that's your filter for developing a list. And instead of just thinking, I bet it's doctors in Miami, maybe it's race car owners in Indianapolis that are buying all the Telluride homes. Okay? So
I think this is a great tool for a pre-listing presentation preparation, because we'll get a call from someone who owns a property. Really, really nice to do the research on who they are, what their interests are, what thread do you have in common with them, where have they been, where have they gone to school, their business, all those things that are positive conversation starters.
Yeah, and if you walk into a listing appointment, as Robert did with the spinach in his teeth, armed with the list, and you're not going to get the list. You're not going to say, hey, here's the list, take a look. I mean, you're going to hold it, but like right in here, I have 150 people of high net worth, HNW, that we're going to target if you list with me. Only I have access to this list. No other agent out there is going to be able to get that. Okay, that's a pretty powerful tool, I think. Similarly, but a little cautiously to what Eric said, just like with the seller leads, you don't want to be big brother in any of these situations.
Right.
Right. You don't want to let people know, and I know your political party, if you gave $400,000 to, Planned Parenthood, whew, like, right, because that information's in there. I don't know if you saw in the tutorial, it said their largest donation was $1 million to whatever. And it tells you what boards they're on. It tells you if they're an art club. Like, you don't want to spook anyone off by being.
No. I think what you use it for is what you're finding out when you're doing the research is the answers. So then you can ask the specific questions that lead to those answers. So yes, they don't know what you're doing, but by God, you're asking the right question.
Yep, you're leading the witness, and that's awesome. Lead the witness without them knowing it, and you're in great shape. Julie, I might be more tempted to say this is in better alignment with the CDX tool, not the seller leads, but just the CDX tool, which a lot of you might be like, what is that? It's upcoming. We've done trainings on it. I'm not going to attach it to this email, but the CDX tool, which lives in CD Exchange, in conjunction with this, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to lose a listing with those two things in your quiver, I think.
Hey,
yeah.
If you are going to be creepy and weird, make sure you put Derek's mugshot on your marketing materials.
Yeah, but let me send you a new one because it used to have a wavy Jim Morrison styled hair. Hey, Joni, I see you're on. I don't think you're on earlier. I called you out for your awesome sale in conjunction with Karen McCarthy. So nice work, Joni. Good stuff. Hey, does anyone have any last minute stuff before I let you go on this Friday the 13th? Nope. Okay. You'll get this recording in a little bit with all the necessary attachments. Just keep up the great work in all of your offices. Have a wonderful weekend. And here's the lesson that I reheard last night. We talked about in our MD meeting. The more time you spend in your office, the less real estate you're doing. Okay? I know you do a lot of stuff in your office, but go out and meet your clients in public so that someone walks by and say, hey, Tony, who are you talking to? And they say, I'm talking to the Godfather right here. He's my real estate agent. They're like, oh, he's a real estate? I got it. Be public with your business at all times, whenever possible, so people are saying and looking at you and you're meeting them. Go to shows. Go to the Bluegrass Festival, JJ. People will introduce themselves to you, and you're going to get listings. Our lead agent in this office just got 2 listings because she went to our little music thing on Tuesday evening, which she hates doing. She walked out of there with 2 listings. Be out. Get out of your offices. It's boring. All right, I'm going to go to my computer now and work. Hey, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
You're awesome. Let's see what these chats are. All right, thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.